As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, I guess I got to go with the Kelce brothers, Jason and Travis Kelce. Signed a new podcast deal with Amazon. $100 million. 3-year deal. $100 million. Wow.
Could we call
That's,
Amazon and let them know we do what half? We'd take half.
we'll take half. We don't want to start there. We'll
Well,
start at 75 and then we'll settle at half. All
I
right.
love where your head's at. That's good negotiating. Yes, nice. No, I the podcast is first of all, the podcast is fantastic. Both of those guys are hilarious. He's one of the best players in the NFL, and he's dating Taylor Swift, and his brother is one of the most beloved NFL players in a long, long time. Like it's what a combination. And $100 million is nothing to Amazon. Like that's couch cushion money for Bezos.
It's like we got to figure out a way to get rid of some of this extra cash we got sitting around. Throw it at the Kelsey brothers. I, I'm not a big listener to the podcast. You know who is a listener to the podcast? My wife, which is interesting because my wife does not watch sports at all, does not care about football or anything. Why does she listen to the podcast?
Because Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift.
Yes, nailed it. Which, it makes me wonder, not that it matters to Amazon, but what happens if they break up? Do you have $100 million podcast that Taylor Swift's army doesn't listen to anymore? Or do they listen in more for the scoop?
Yeah, I
Hate listened.
part of me thinks that if they did break up, it would be the best thing ever to happen for Amazon because everyone would want to hear what happened.
Law, yeah, yeah, that's a
And
good
then
point.
and then Taylor Swift would write songs about Travis Kelce, and then he'd get to react to him, and then Jason Kelce would get to react to him. And it would just be this vicious cycle back and forth, and it would be probably incredible content.
I can. You
Do you
think
think that's
Travis
what
right now?
Amazon's hoping for?
Well, I don't know if they're hoping for it, but if I'm Travis, I'm planning for it in 2.5 years. Whenever the podcasts start to maybe plateau a little bit, reaching the end of that 3-year deal, little breakup, huh? The
Or
relationship's a little on the rocks there.
or wedding. Could
Ah,
you imagine?
yes.
That would be that would be a massive event. And I wonder, now I'm going down the rabbit hole. Could there be something in there that says, hey, if you get married, we get to
Exclusive
broadcast the
rights.
wedding?
Exclusive wedding
Prime Video.
rights. I don't know. I don't
We
think
get to
that
film it and put it on Prime Video.
it's a good idea, but I don't think Taylor Swift even notices $100 million and is like, no. 100 million bucks for our wedding? You kidding me? No. We
Maybe he just signed the deal to pay for the wedding.
yeah. Yeah, probably
He's
so.
like, I'm gonna go broke
I
paying for
have to
this
keep
wedding
up
if I don't
somehow.
sign some type of deal.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the numbers in the podcast game. I used to listen to Howard Stern, and he always complained about the podcast stuff. I don't know why anyone does it. You'll never make any money doing podcasts. It's ridiculous. Anyone can start a podcast. Could not have been more wrong. it's shocking how much money some people are making doing podcasts. Shocking. Huge money.
If anyone would like to pay us a ton of money, you know where to find us.
Man, I don't know. I have a feeling that after I made, I don't know, after you split it, just call it $10 million in year one on the podcast, I think I'd have a really low motivation for year two. Oh, I'd just be like, it's fun, but I'm good. I'm good. I'll see you later. If I run out of this $10 million, maybe we'll fire this thing back up, but I'm good.
We'll see. Oh, congrats, Kelce brothers. I will say,
Congratulations.
I wouldn't say that I'm friends with those guys. I've hung out with them a couple times because of other people. Both dudes were incredibly kind to me. So I really those are like genuinely good dudes. They didn't have to be nice to me, and they were incredibly nice to me. So I I'm pumped for those guys' success. They deserve it. It's
Can,
wildly entertaining also.
can you imagine like just grinding your ass off, playing hurt and all doing all of that and then retiring and then making that much money just
Talking,
showing up
just
and
being
it's
you.
like laid out for them. You can tell how they do their podcast. Like, cause my wife will show me clips and stuff. Like, it's totally produced and laid out, and it's like chopped to pieces.
It's the exact opposite of this podcast.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
You're
is.
looking at the production team right here, folks. Oh, anything else on that? Or are you ready for loser?
I'm ready for loser.
Who do you have as your loser of the week?
Ah, me and everyone else that wanted to see Drake Stoops make the 53 man for the Rams.
Mm.
Now, all hope is not lost. Still has a shot to make the practice squad. And to be honest with you, it's really what I envisioned he had the biggest shot at all along. I mean, he's the exact kind of player that everyone wants to have on their roster. And I don't know. What do you think? You think he'll get a shot on the practice squad?
I hope so. I don't know a ton about their wide receiver situation. He is, I mean, he's the type of guy that you would imagine if he's been producing, because practice is the most important thing. Like the
Right.
preseason games are one thing. I don't know how he's been doing in practice. Like, has he been producing? Has he been making plays? Like, ultimately, that's the stuff that really determines if you're going to be on the practice squad or not. And also, you got to remember, they're evaluating every other guy that just got released off of the preseason game tape. So it's just a waiting game for Drake right now. Not a fun place to be, man. I can tell you, I never made a team coming out of training camp. Got cut every single time,
Hmm.
and then had to get claimed and had to do that. It's a terrible feeling. It sucks.
So the timeline was
Wait for your
way
phone to ring.
24 hours to clear waivers, and then you can be put on a practice squad. Someone can't come claim you to put you on a practice squad, can they?
No, they can only claim you to put you on their active roster.
Right. Okay.
So, and you got to remember, and that's why cut day just happened in the NFL. It's the absolute worst because there used to be two cuts. There's only one now. It goes from 90 to 53.
It's crazy,
So
man.
that's 1,184 guys.
Dude, it's so wild after a training camp is over and you have the cut and then you come in like the next day for team meeting. It's like, where the hell is everyone? Because you have these meeting rooms that are just now empty. Half the guys are gone.
If there's anyone that you should feel extra bad for out there, it's the guys that survive the cut. They're on the initial 53,
Mm.
only to find out 2 days later the organization has claimed someone else off of waivers, and then they get released for that person to get brought in.
Yeah, brutal.
That that is the most brutal situation in the National Football League.
Yeah. Jalen Redmond made it 53 man in Minnesota.
Let's go, Redmond. Hell yeah.
Pretty impressive. He's got the physical traits to make it in the NFL. We've all seen that.
Just the consistency, man.
Yep.
All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all have a lot going on in our lives, and sometimes as adults, we lose our curiosity to learn new things. That's where BetterHelp comes in. Visit betterhelp.com/OKC to get 10% off your first month. Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder in life. I started talking to a therapist when I was playing the NFL. Some of these guys that just got cut, therapy could help the situation.
Yes.
Just need to talk to someone about these stresses in life, man.
Hey, there's a new business plan for you.
There you go. BetterHelp. Reach out to all these guys that just got cut. I'm a big believer in therapy and believe it can help so many people if they will just try it. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you go from there. You can even switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Therapy can help you focus on what really matters in your life. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/OKC to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/OKC to get 10% off your first month. My winner of the week, CeeDee Lamb, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Pay that man, Jerry Jones. He paid that man.
Yes, he did.
4 years, $136 million.
Ooh,
Makes him the second highest paid non QB in NFL history, only behind Justin Jefferson, who, let's be real, is really good. But he gets the biggest signing bonus ever for a wide receiver. And Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboy fans and everyone involved, everyone in that building can breathe a sigh of relief because they got CeeDee Lamb. Deal's done. Don't have to worry about it. This is awesome in so many ways, Ted.
well, yeah, and maybe the best way that can you imagine saying, "Screw you guys, I'm not going to training camp," and being rewarded with a $136 million contract right as training camp ends? You knew you were going to have to pay it. Like, just like, oh, that is so awesome. Like I don't know how many millions that's worth just not having to do any training camp at all. That's awesome.
I'm so happy for him.
It's
Played it
amazing.
perfectly. And I think when guys sign contracts like this, there's this little concern. Okay, does it change them? Like, do they prepare the same? Do they put the same amount of work in? I'm not worried about that with CeeDee. He's never seemed like that type of guy to me. It will be interesting to see how they manage him early in the season. Like he is, you've called him a Ferrari. Like he's a Ferrari. He's a Formula One car. Like you want to let him get those tires warm,
That's
right?
right.
You don't want him, game one, pedal to the metal, going through the chicanes. You know what I'm
That's
saying,
right.
Ted?
That's right. Let's get the tires hot, run around a little bit, change the oil perhaps. Yeah, new filters, whatever you need to do, get him race ready. It's a long, long season. So and he's been working. He'll be ready to go pretty quickly, I'm sure. But I mean, it is an important factor. The last thing you want to do is because you can't get in football shape without playing football. It's how it is. So do need to be smart with him, but gosh dang, 136 million bucks on the heels of Creed Humphrey's huge deal. That there's some serious money floating around the league with some OU guys right now.
How about this? That Rose Bowl offense,
Whew.
Baker Mayfield, Orlando Brown, Mark Andrews. Let's not forget Kyler Murray was the backup quarterback on that team.
Yes, he
But
was.
guys that played in that game, Mayfield, Orlando Brown, Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown, Ben Powers, CeeDee Lamb. I went and looked up some career earnings numbers. And this is if they all finish out their current contract.
Mm-hmm.
Baker 155 million, Orlando 87, Ben Powers 63, Mark Andrews 63, Hollywood 32, CeeDee 168.
Woo.
Big numbers, dude.
Huge numbers.
I
Huge numbers.
am I'm not great at math, but that adds up to a lot.
Yeah. Massive, massive numbers.
And then
And
you mentioned other guys.
yeah,
Tyler, 296.
300 million, no big deal.
Hurts, 263.
Oh,
Lane Johnson, 180. Trent Williams, 246.
it's
You
incredible.
throw in Creed's 81. Those guys add up to over $1 billion.
It's nuts, man.
That's awesome.
It's so cool.
But yes, as you mentioned, a lot of cash for Oklahoma players right now.
Those numbers are just staggering, aren't they? I
We should
mean,
have been better at football. Well, you shouldn't have Liz Franked your foot. I should have been better at football.
well, I, yeah, you are correct, sir. I just can't believe how quickly the numbers have gone crazy in the NFL. I mean, 4 years, 136 for CeeDee. It's not very long ago that he would have been by far the highest paid player in the NFL, like a wide receiver. It's crazy.
Business is good,
Business is booming.
and it's about to boom anymore. You see, they're letting private equity firms buy 10% of teams.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to make of that.
I I'm not sure. We'll see. It's one of those situations. Let's revisit it in like a year
Yeah.
and
I
see.
yeah, it's I feel like that's kind of an owner thing. I could like the players are gonna as the revenue goes up, the players make more. I don't know how that I don't know. I don't know how it affects it. I just read it today, so but
We'll see.
numbers are big right now in the NFL.
And a lot of big numbers next to OU guys' names.
Yes.
My loser of the week, Ryan Day. And here's why. There is no coach in college football with more pressure on him than Ryan Day. Our buddy Jake Trotter has an article out on ESPN.com about Ohio State's 2024 team. First of all, it says that Ohio State is spending $20 million on their roster for this season. And that Buckeyes team, they are loaded, man. They got NFL players all over that roster. Remember, they went and got Judkins and Caleb Downs from the portal. They brought a bunch of guys back that would have been, earlier mid-round draft picks like Ibuka, JTT, Denzel Burt. Trotter's article is littered with quotes about guys wanting to beat Michigan and go win a national championship. The expectations for Ohio State could not be any higher. And I understand they're always high there. I get that. But you got Chip Kelly now as your offensive coordinator if you're Ryan Day. he has to win a national title this year. And the reason it's so interesting to me is I feel like it's never been harder to win a national title than it
No,
will be this year.
this will be the hardest it's ever been.
So
Yes.
you've got this pressure filled situation where everyone is expecting you to win a national title. You haven't been able to do that. Like the last 3 years, you have lost your most important football game. And everyone just kind of expects it to happen when you've got this new look Big Ten. You've got a new quarterback in Will Howard, and you have to play a 12-team playoff.
You might have the best team in the playoff and the worst quarterback in the playoff.
Mm.
Which, I'm not saying that Will Howard is horrible, but I mean, you don't have to start looking very far on the teams in the top 10 to say, yeah, I'd rather have that quarterback and I'd rather have that quarterback and I'd rather have that quarterback. So I I'm just still, it makes, with the $20 million number on it, and it makes the Will Howard thing that much more. It just makes it so wild that he's the quarterback that ended up there.
Since that's interesting. Now, like Ryan Day, I really do think he has the most pressure
Yeah.
on him of any coach in college football. He's probably not going to lose his job. Like not that type of pressure. It's just like the pressure to go and win it all. Like that is the expectation. I feel like the feeling around that program is if they don't win the national title this season, then it's a failure. Which kind of makes me think that Will Howard is the player in college football that's under the most pressure.
Yeah. How could you ever screw it up with all those guys around you?
You've got all
Right?
this talent around you. We're giving you all these weapons you never had at Kansas State. Go win us a national title, Will. CJ Stroud couldn't do it, but go get it done, Will, in this
Crazy.
expanded Big Ten and in a 12-team playoff.
Man.
I mean, is there another? It's probably a quarterback conversation, but is there another player in college football with more pressure on him than Will Howard?
No. Well, maybe for like for different situations, I think Quinn Ewers is probably close, because I don't think he's what everyone is building him up to be. I and I think he's a good player, but I think everyone is like setting Texas up for, or setting him up for, like big disappointment, but not like this. I mean, this is a different level, you know?
Are there Do we think there are actually a lot of people out there that think Texas is going to go and win a national title this year?
No, but there's a lot of people that, I mean, take Pate, for example, had them winning the SEC and be
Well,
one
if
of
you
the
can win the
bye.
SEC, you can win the national title. I
Yeah,
mean,
winning the SEC and having a bye for the in the playoff. I believe that's what he had. He had Texas and Ohio State playing in the championship. Now that doesn't mean anything other than he's a big name in college football that's picking it, and people see that a lot, and it influences what people think of that football team.
so Ewers is probably the next guy, right, with the high expectations for Texas coming into the SEC. Got Arch Manning
Yeah.
in that quarterback room waiting, right?
Which,
That
by the
creates.
way, have you seen that commercial? The call back up with Boz and Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
I he says, I didn't need backup to make the college football playoff, but he did. He's needed backup every year. He's been hurt. He missed multiple games last year.
Do you think Malik Murphy saw that and was like, what the hell, man?
What? Wait a second, dude. I thought that was funny.
That's funny.
The first time I saw it, I was like, hang on a second, is that right? Yeah, that's crazy though. Ohio State, can they if they win a national championship but lose to Michigan, does that will they still count it? Will they fire
Yes.
Ryan Day before the playoffs even get there? Oh
I
my gosh.
Gosh. Did you see Kiffin tweeted out that article?
Yeah, I did.
It was funny for a lot of reasons.
I know. A lot of people say they spent about the same amount of money.
That's why it made me chuckle because I know they spent a boatload of money on their roster this season,
Yeah.
but Ohio State also stole his running back. So it was, I don't know, it made me chuckle.
It's gonna be
I,
wild.
it'll be fun.